Great ideas that move you. Straight from Europe's brightest minds. Experience top speakers from 8 European universities, sharing insights on topics that truly matter to you. The Ulysses Open online lecture series brings leading voices from diverse fields, cultures, and disciplines right to your screen. Each session offers the latest research, fresh perspectives, and inspiring ideas that shape our future. In just 30 minutes, you'll gain practical, real-world skills in an online, flexible format, accessible from anywhere. Join us online from anywhere and expand your horizons with knowledge from across Europe.
Welcome to this session of the Ulysses Open Online Lecture Series. Today's title is Wellbeing in Smart Cities, KPI and Local Policies. And I think the conjunction matters. KPI and policy, not KPI informing policies at some point in the future, but the two together as a single design challenge. Measuring urban well-being and acting on it are not sequential phases. They are or should be a continuous and reciprocal process. The underlying question is not technical. It is a question on priorities. What do we choose to make measurable? At what scale? With what tools? And built by whom? Every indicator system reflects a vision in the city and of the people who inhabit it. The contribution you will hear today trace a precise trajectory from measurement frameworks at urban scale to neighborhood dashboards, from benchmarking systems to policy design. This is a movement across scales, from the city to the neighborhood, but also across registers, from the technical question, how do we measure well-being, to the design question, from whom and to what end. And we will open with Professor Rita Bencivenga, representing Work Package 6, Equality, Diversity and Inclusion and Community Engagement, followed by Professors Takehiko Nagumo, Paola Dameri, Monica Brozzone, and Nicola Canessa. Let's begin.
Well, thank you for inviting me to contribute to this event. And the title, Whose City Is It?, points to a central question about ownership, power, and inclusion in today's data-driven cities. Data is not neutral, but deeply linked to questions of justice and control over urban life. In our smart cities, what we measure determines what we build. What really matters is that the quality of our policies depends on the quality of the perspectives we include, especially those from the margins. To move forward, we must look beyond basic digital divides like age or gender and address intersectional inequalities. These are the complex ways that gender, income, and background overlap to create barriers to urban rights. Furthermore, we must address the privacy paradox. For the most vulnerable, being included in data must not lead to disproportionate surveillance. The heart of this issue is what we call infrastructural bias. Urban data often underrepresents the most fragile populations. If the predictive algorithm we use to allocate resources from transport to social services are trained on biased data, we are essentially coding inequality into the city's DNA. So to conclude, the most transformative point must be participation. A consultative model is no longer sufficient, as we will see today. To take the next step, we are moving from a mere consultation to true power, meaning citizens don't just get asked for their opinion occasionally, they gain a real power over the systems and data that shape their daily lives, because a smart city is defined by the quality of the lives it manages to improve, all of them, not just some. Thank you.
Many thanks, Rita Bencivenga from the Work Package number 6. And now I'm very proud and happy to host here at the University of Geneva, Professor Takehiko Nagumo from Keio University in Tokyo. and his speech is about well-being city indicator. So thank you, Professor Nagu.
Thank you very much for kind introduction. Hi, my name is Tak Nagumo from Tokyo. So let me talk about a Japanese experience with you. Okay. So first of all, the reason why we started to introduce well-being indicator in the context of the smart city is that no one was attracted by technology per se. Talking about people in general in Japan. So my wife, over the dinner, I talked about smart cities, but not excited. But she was more concerned about how happy she could be as a result of implementing smart cities. That motivated us to introduce something called Liveable Wellbeing City Indicator. And before that was the two sets of objective indicators or dashboard. So it's being used for economic reasons or more general regional revitalization reasons, but didn't have a subjective indicators at the beginning. So 4 years ago, we created the Liveable Wellbeing City Indicator, which is a combination of subjective and objective data sets, focusing on citizens' well-being. So this is the key part of this architecture. Sitting on top is a well-being, which is divided into your personal well-being, community well-being, and life satisfaction in the local areas, which further divided into 24 factors of well-being. I don't read all of them, but the self-realization, community relationship, natural environment, and built environment. Those 24 factors are measured both subjectively and objectively. The pink portion represents policies. So once you implement a policy, your result is tested objectively and then subjectively and see how it is linked up to life satisfaction, community well-being, and personal well-being. I can show you a little bit about the specifications. So subjective and objective indicators are like this. So starting from subjective, there are 51 national standard indicators, the questions, so to speak. And some additional local discretionary indicators can be added by cities. And the level of disaggregation is starting from zip code level to country level. So you can and to talk about objectives, there are 122 indices consist of 200 individual detailed indicators. And this can be disaggregated into municipal level, prefecture level, and country level. Both are updated annually. And one key promise we have between government and the citizen is that we don't use them to rank cities because cities are all different. Ranking doesn't make any sense at all. And to show you the screens of the dashboards, this might be a little too small, but it can be sample selection, subjective well-being, life satisfaction, measurement, well-being factors, figured out in the radar chart, scatter diagram, indicator breakdown, and correlation analysis. These are the basic ones. More advanced ones include correlations amongst the factors, variance alliance, segmentation analysis, and the spatial mapping by zip code and the word crowd. And currently, 250 municipalities are using this to design policies. That's about it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Professor Nagumo. Your presentation is very interesting. And the novelty of this approach is the measurement of both the objective well-being and subjective well-being. That is what makes people happy to live in a city. Now is my turn. My name is Paola Dameri, and we changed the place. I would like to share with you the experience that we made here at the University of Genova together with the municipality of Genova. We also developed a dashboard that is able to support decisions making for politicians and officials at the municipal level. And we to create such dashboard, we needed to explore a huge amount of data, but especially to understand how to scale down from the national or supranational level to a very small scale until the level of the municipality. The municipality, I mean the city, because there is a relation between the municipality level from the territorial point of view and the possibility to take decisions at political decisions at this level. So in Europe, it is not easy to find data at the municipal level, but we decided to work on this, and we indeed collected a quite very good amount of data and indicators, 160 indicators that describes in different ways how the city is, how people can live well or not very well in this city, and thanks to composite indicators that put together 160 in a less high number of indicators, it is possible to understand how to drive political decisions to improve the quality of life of people living in the city. And we developed such a dashboard using such indicators involving 12 cities in Italy, the biggest one. I mean, cities with more than 250,000 citizens, that for Italy is quite a high number. And we now have 8 years of data for such indicators. So thanks to this database, three-dimensional database, the municipality is able to understand what is happening respect to different topics in the city and respect to the other 11 cities in Italy, very similar to the city of Genova. This is the framework of our dashboard. You can see here two different graphical representation. These at the center are the 160 indicators. Why? Because for the first, we built the three-dimensional database, what I explained before. I mean, 160 indicators, 12 cities, 8 years. And the potentiality of this dashboard is that such indicators are not statically explored. They are dynamically explored because we can aggregate such indicators in different ways. So in the left side of the slide, you can see that we organized such indicators respect to what we call the city axis. We mean the pillars on what the quality of the city life is based on. So these pillars are the quality of the environment, the quality of the infrastructures, the economic situation, the quality of life for individuals, the social life, and finally, the quality of the city governance. So we collected the indicators and we organized indicators to answer to questions about the quality of life respect to these 6 different dimensions. See, these dimensions are used for the city performance management. I mean, to understand if the city is performing well or not well respect to all these different dimensions. Each dimension is organized in the topics, each topics in subtopics, and finally single indicators. So it is possible to have a very detailed vision. On the right side, you can say another organization of the same indicators for city governance, because we look at the quality of life. So considering characteristics of the city, such as the inclusivity, the capability of the city to be inclusive, to be attractive, to be to give a good quality of life, so livability for the citizens, and also sustainability from the economic and the environmental point of view, and the possibility of a social and economic development. So the dynamic control, that is the name of this dashboard, is conceived to change the way we see the indicators from the management point of view to the governance point of view for the well-being of citizens. This is the representation of the ICT dashboard, and we can briefly see and this is the way the non lo vedo. Now, we prepared a short a video, but I cannot start it. Non lo vedo. Ma non posso riuscire tu? No, scusa. No, scusa. Se fai così? No. Okay, but I explained how it is organized, and so I leave the floor to Professor Monica Bruzzone that will speak about a further application of a dashboard to a different dimension of the city. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Paola. We have to change. Yeah. Down. Okay, done. Okay, this is thank you very much. What's happening? I don't know. Good morning. Come si toglie? Technical barriers, yes. Thank you very much. I will take another point of view in which dashboard can help the government of a city. So we can, first of all, when we talk about dashboard that they may measure and monitor the smart cities, we usually work with data and then with the indicators or scenarios concerning the city itself, the city as a whole. But cities are not homogeneous entities. They are made, first of all, of people, the citizens, and so they are composed by everyday action and everyday movements that each citizen can do, and these actions take place at every small scale, inside homes, along the blocks, and within the neighborhoods. So at a sub-municipal scale. Looking at a city only as a whole is not enough to design policies at the sub-municipal level. So, and this is exactly the starting point of our dashboard. Then it is his name is Seagull.
and his acronym is not is aiming to understand that it is not a simply visual platform for mapping data and indicators, but it aims to give meaning to data. It is a transformative data into scenarios that may enhance the well-being dimension of the city, the socio-economic issues, and the overall scope of the urban dashboard. We also evidence the concept of aware governance. It means mindfulness of data to generate a micro knowledge of city. And then we intentionally use the concept of urban landscape, considering the city as an ecosystem composed by people, by territory, and by the relationship between people and territory. The main feature of Seagull is the ability to operate across multiple dimensions, focusing into 3 sub-municipal scales. We identified 3 key dimensions: space, time, and people. First of all, the time. Urban Dashboard observe the cities across diverse temporal horizons, but to provide support to local decision makers, the policy may address a medium-term observation, typically 1 year or 6 months. The key focus of the space is not on the whole city, nor on the single point considered by the GPS coordinates, but on the neighborhood dimension, that is the blocks, the neighborhood, and the districts. And then people, because the Seagull is a people-centered dashboard that represent social groups and aims to represent the fragilities characteristics of the segments of population. At the core of the Seagull lies a strong theoretical framework. This is based on 3 main assumptions. First of all, data are authoritative because sources on public administration. Then data are solid, updated, and consistent, always updated, and consistency to ensure the comparability among the territories. And then the work of the urban dashboard is to work with raw data, anonymize raw data, and this is the crucial aspect of our dashboard. So the system may create scenario and not only display data or indicators. Most important, all data are stratified into 3 interconnected levels. At the bottom, we have the physical environment, the city itself as an artifact. At the top, we have people that are the focus of the dashboard. And between people and environment, we have a level considering the human activities that connect environment with people. This is the most important quality of our dashboard. Seagull make it possible to observe where in the city a problem emerge and how physical space, the human activities, and the social condition may interact at the sub-municipal level. The innovative core of Seagull is its ability to adopt a medium to long-term perspective and to use a cross-cutting citizen-oriented tool. Furthermore, it is designed for users, mainly decision makers and technicians of the public administration, and in this sense, is not a representative tool, but a cognitive map supporting learning and comparison among different neighborhoods. In conclusion, Seagull is an innovative IT tool that uses data to give new knowledge about the city. The city considered as a complex ecosystem that we haven't we have the video, but unfortunately there's a problem, and make visible qualities and inequalities of the city. So our dashboard helps to move beyond the narrative of a generic city and toward a grounded, socially aware governance based on the policy on each neighborhood. And thank you very much for your attention. I leave the floor to Professor Nicola Canetto.
Thank you. Vediamo se ci riusciamo. Yes. Yes. As we see, the importance, one of the more important things is work on the level of the neighborhood, or the level of the people. And I have the fortune to work to the thematics of smart city to different level, to different point of view. From one side, I am an urbanist, an architect, an urbanist, and teaching urbanism. I work on a strategic plan for the city. And in this case, the data, the possibility to use data for the new planning, the new transformation of the city, the strategy, is one of the things more interesting today, to be objective, and from the other side, to work with the co-participation of the people. From the other side, like president of Smart City Association of Genova, the opportunity to see what is the tendency in the city and in context of this territory to the perception of the thematic of the smart. From one side, we know what is smart city, some things that is all around us, and for the people, many times the concept of smart is something of technological that affect or infect our city, that give the possibility to connect, to put in connection, and to know information about us, but are elements that are helpful for our well-being, as we see before, because as Smart City, this is our group of investigation, is not a sim city, like many people think. Yes, we have data, we have a capacity to manage the city, to see the disaster, to see the perception and the projection of the data, but Smart City is something that put more in connection people to the city, citizen with other citizen, citizen with the institution. And it is a unique space where data, information, people are all together in the same time. The data give us the possibility to mapping from one side, like urbanist for us is very interesting, see how the different technology information and the digital transformation give us anytime more possibility to have information from the environment, from the people. And we work on this, analyzing and mapping our city. In this case, it was Genova, or Barcelona, in this case, Seoul, or again, Genova, to the density of population that use the public transportation. Each data gives us the possibility to imagine future scenarios of our city, of our transformation in our case. In this case, we are working, for example, to a project to the future city of Genova, starting from the indicator and from the data of the city. But from the other side, like I said before, like Genova City Association, Smart City Association, the things that they are doing is try to help the transformation of the city in something more sustainable, and from the other side, more near to the people. And the data and the smart technology give us the possibility to do this. Genova is the first city in Italy for the percentage of data for citizens that are digitalized and useful for the city user and for the city analysis. But it's very difficult today have access to all this cluster of this information. With association, we are working on 12 tables, starting now. Okay, activity with 4 tables that are more near the environment, the energy, the mobility, the urban well-being. Other 4 tables that work more on the tourism, on the health, on the safety and economic innovation. And the last 4 are more near the knowledge, the regeneration of the city, the digital infrastructure, and the governance. This is because these 12 thematics are the thematics that habitually are inside of the city, and where the smart can give something more that can have the possibility, the opportunity to bring information that habitually are digital and like in a sort of cloud, and try to bring them to the heart, directly in contact with the people in the digital but physical transformation of the space. So thank you for your attention.
Thank you to all 5 speakers. So Professor Nagumo opened the question on define qualitative indicators of well-being. And this is where participatory processes became not only a methodological component, but I think a necessity. And qualitative indicators of well-being cannot be built without involving communities in their definition. So, if Professor Dameri wants to say something.
Yes, I would like to conclude with some observation and notes about our presentations. So we started with Professor Bencivenga speaking about how cities can be good places, but also bad places for people, because cities are able to create opportunities, but also to create differences and exclusion of people. So who has the responsibility to make cities good places? For the first, the politicians, but I think also each citizen can have a good role, a positive role, an active role in doing this. So we need to think about cities like places where opportunities and threats are present, and each person can work to improve the quality of the life in city, but obviously the the governance of the city has a very important impact. So the dashboards that we examined, that we compare during the 3 presentations, explain that it is possible to collect the data, not just to measure a situation, but to use to create a representation of the city, a meaning of the city, and this meaning to create an alignment between the meaning of the city and the quality of life of citizens, considering some objective situation, but also thanks to the very interesting best practice of explained by Professor Nagumo, to put together the objective situations with the subjective desire of people. So how people perceive the city. And this is very important because examining the data that Professor Nagumo collected during some years using such a dashboard, we can verify that in several occasions we have a difference between the objective data that describe the situation of a city and the subjective perception of this quality. So it is not simple to say if I add some buses or if I add some museums to the city to improve the quality of life. We need to better know the city, to give meaning of the city, and to use such meanings to create really a place where people can live well, not excluding no one. So this is also what Professor Canessa said to us, concluding with his experience on the ground. Thanks to the involvement of citizens, it is possible not only to use data, but also to create living labs where people can be directly involved in designing the city they want. So this is what we would like to share with you today. So how to use data, not to measure, not to just to give aesthetical representation of the city, but how to use data to create a participation of citizens in designing their data, their city, so the city that they really want for living their life. So I think that I say thanks to all the speakers, because I think that even in a very few time we had the opportunity to give a panorama of all these theories and experiences on the ground. So I hope that the persons attending this open class have questions for us.
The question is in which programs and which companies are we working with in terms of automation. But I mean that our stakeholders are mainly the public administration.
Yeah. Yes, in this case, the important things to see that in all the processes before we have seen, habitually there is a cooperation between university and public administration, and habitually with many stakeholders that are engaged and work on the city. This, for example, we see in the association, that the association is composed from one side from the research center, so university, CNR, the EET, and so institute, and from the other side, the municipality, the region, the metropolitan city, but around 100 company that work on the ground, on the city, in the city, to different level, from the transformation of the buildings of the city to the digital affair for the transformation. So data, IoT, and all elements that are connected to the life of the city. So is a mix of partnership, and in this partnership enter many times the people, the citizen, that enter, like in the last project that we have to do together, for example, like subject that can verify if the data that we can collect for sensor or from dashboard are perceived from the people in the same way that we try to read from the dashboard.
Speaking about digitalization, the two dashboards that we showed before have two different stories. I mean that the dashboard Controllo Dynamico is somewhat that the municipality of Genova developed inside the municipality. The University of Genova gave the conceptual framework, and they developed by themselves. Seagull is something different, because we won a very, very big European project funding some applications about smart cities, and the dashboard Seagull is a pilot that has been developed by the Department of Informatics of the University of Genova. So if there are other questions, we are very open to answer.
To have the conclusion.
Okay, so we can conclude. You can find our email address in I don't know, in the presentations, but also on the internet if you look for our names. And if you have some questions also tomorrow on the following days, we are very open to answer to you. Thanks you so much, and I give the floor to Professoressa Centenaro for the conclusions.
You said all, and the time I think is over, and I think thank you to all to this session, and see you next class, next open class.